Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down all things the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I wanted to say hi to everyone. I took a break over the summer and it bled a little bit into the fall. To me, Bravo was just getting a little bit too toxic, a little bit too draining. So I wanted to just take a little bit of a break, chill, and focus on my other company, my wellness company, which is the Soft Life. If you guys want to know about that, it is linked down below. Podcasts, courses, all of that great stuff. And also, if you want to support the show, you can subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment down below. So, with that, you guys, hello, welcome back, everybody. Hey, Chocolate Chunks. Hey, Miss T. Hey, Tay Tay. Hey, Adam. Hey, everybody. Let's dive right on in. So, let's first things I will do is I will talk about each of the girls, and then I'll get into the whole Prism jewelry scandal of it all. Okay. So let's start out with my fave, Lisa Barlow. So, as you guys know, I'm a Lisa Barlow stan. I absolutely love her. I think the reason why she has so much trouble with the rest of the girls is because, lover or hater, Lisa Barlow is that girl. She really is. She's just that girl of the group. That's why Heather wants to be her BFF. That's why Whitney is jealous of her and can't stand her. That's why Bronwyn comes in as a friend of Lisa, but then the moment she gets a chance, she wants to then go and kind of turn her back on Lisa to be with the other, pygmishas of the group. You know what I'm saying? And so Lisa really is that girl. I'm going to get into whether or not, and I want you guys to answer this in the chat box if you're live, or comment down below if you're watching on the replay. Do you think Lisa Barlow was behind the leaking of Whitney Rose's allegedly copying, using Alibaba's designs for her Prism jewelry line and then hiking up the price? So basically doing what a lot of retailers do, buying super, super cheap and then marking it up really, really high, slapping your name or brand on it. Do you think Lisa Barlow is behind that or not? Okay. So I feel bad for Lisa in the sense of, I think that she is coming back into her own. She's taking her power back, but I do sense a sense of sadness about her. I think she's tired of the girls constantly coming for her. I think she's tired of always having to prove herself. I think she's tired of all of the lies being on her and around her. But I will say this, I'm happy that she's owning who she is. And she's like, no, I'm Lisa Barlow. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, too bad. It is what it is. I know you want to be me, but you can't. What up? Which is different than what Heather Dubrow is doing on the OC. And I'll get to that. I think we'll do the OC tomorrow night. So much going on with OC. Tamara Judge needs to be canceled forever. Like, I can't even understand that. Anyway, but the reason why I bring Heather Dubrow up in this situation is because, to me, Lisa Barlow and Heather Dubrow are very, very similar in the sense of, lover or hater, she's that girl in the group. She has the money, she has the husband, she has the fashion, she has the prestige. Whether you like her or not, she's that girl. She just is. The difference is with Heather Dubrow, I think that Heather Dubrow is more of a pick me. That's why she's still friends with people like a Tamara Judge and really wants that validation. Whereas Lisa has really stepped into her own and she's like, no, I'm not even going to entertain any of that. So that's kind of where I stand when it comes to that. So I love Lisa Barlow. I think that's kind of where Lisa is on her journey. Let's talk about Heather. Okay, so I'm living for Heather, not Heather. Yeah, for Heather Gay this season. Now, when it comes to Heather, I'm happy that she is putting Whitney in check. She's still being her little, like, we're cousins, we're kissing cousins, little, situation, which is fine. But she sees through Whitney. She sees who Whitney is, and they're not doing that thing that they used to do in the beginning seasons where they would get together, create a story in their head about what they thought the truth was. Then they would go back to the group and regurgitate it as if it were the truth. They're not doing that anymore because Heather Gay got wise to Whitney and all her stuff. I will say this, though. Heather knows her position on the show, and she wants to keep that position on the show. She is, in my opinion, the Kyle Richards of the show, in the sense that she is the producer's plant. She's the producer's favorite. She's going to be the one that's going to go in and drop the bomb. She's going to be the one that's going to carry the bone. She's going to be the one that's going to stir the pot, not say too much about herself, but wants to go in and stir up everybody else's mess. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of living for it. I really like Heather Gay. In the beginning seasons, I was not a Heather Gay fan. I wasn't feeling her at all. But I think she's coming to her own. She's being more authentic. She's being more honest. When she was in her people pleasing mode, that to me comes off as slimy. Like when somebody's like overly nice and not themselves, it's kind of ick. So I'm really happy that she stepped into her own and she stepped into her true self of who she is. So I'm really happy about that. So I'm happy for Heather in that situation. And I'm also looking forward to seeing Heather grow. And I like Heather and Lisa Barlow being friends. It is much more enjoyable to watch these two women as friends than it is to watch them fight each other literally over nothing. So I'm liking that. And again, to make a reference to the OC, and I'll talk about this again when we do the OC live tomorrow, but it, to me, it's like if Heather Dubrow could finally get her ish together, kick Tamara Judge, aka Whitney, to the side, and befriend Shannon Bedore the way the way Heather Gay has befriended Lisa. I actually think that dynamic on the OC would work really, really well. We haven't really ever seen that dynamic. We almost did in the beginning when Shannon first came onto the show, but then everything blew up and Tamara got into everybody and business and blew that up. I actually think that dynamic would be really, really interesting on the OC. But we'll talk about that more when we do the OC recap. But that's kind of what I'm feeling with Heather. I have to say, and nobody cancel me for this, but I agree with Heather Gay's position on, quote, body positivity being a lie. Because she wasn't saying the way Mary was trying to make her say, Mary, like, sit down, have several seats. Like, we'll get to you, Mary, okay? What Heather Gay was saying was, she wasn't saying that she was lying about body positivity. She was saying that the quote movement around body positivity is a lie. And I agree with that, the majority of that sentiment. And I'll break down what that means. Yes, there is this whole like, be your authentic self. We embrace all body, all hair type, all skin tones, blah, 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 blah. But underneath all of that, the same, quote, beauty standard was still being rewarded, still being sought out, and still being pushed as being better than, coveted, sought after. This is what you should look like and be, right? And a lot of the whole body positivity, diversity, inclusiveness did feel performative. Like, oh, now that it's cool to have diversity, let's do that. Now that it's cool to have body positivity, let's do that. It was kind of lacking this sort of genuineness to it. And I think that is what Heather Gay was trying to say. She wasn't saying that she was lying about being positive about her body. She was saying that the movement itself felt like a lie to her. And I can understand what she's saying. You know, I can understand what she's saying. I can't necessarily identify with it, but I understand what she's saying about not feeling right in your body and all of that stuff. So overall, Heather to me is refreshing. I love her without Jen Shaw. I love her with keeping it all the way real with Whitney. I'm liking Heather this season. Now, let's talk about Brittany. Brittany is a hot mess. And Brittany is the type of girl that at this point in my life, I would never be friends with. I could see her at a brunch. I could see her at a dinner and drinks. But as a friend, hell to the no. Multiple reasons, okay? Number one, Brittany is an energy vampire suck. She has a very negative energy to her, because not negative in the sense of mean, but negative in the sense of like, the only person I'm talking about or care about is like myself and this guy who is treating me like garbage. Every conversation, I'm only going to talk about him. Every conversation, I'm only going to talk about what he just texted me. Every conversation, I'm either praising him or I'm bashing him. Every conversation is me, him, us, me, him, us. And how dare you have an opinion about this person that I just talk about 24/7 times a day, even though he calls me his bestie, but he sleeps with me. He won't claim me on Instagram, but we're together. He drops my hand when he's holding it when a hot person comes around. Oh my God, he's hitting on your brow, girl. I can't believe, like, Brittany, shut up, bye, sit down, next. Number one, I do not want to be friends with women who have that level of low self esteem. When you get some sort of high or some sort of kick out of this up, down, hot, cold, rabbit hole, roundabout, with a man who is clearly using you for sex and doesn't really care about you, doesn't respect you, and has you out here looking like a damn clown. And then for you to turn around and act like Lisa, who we love, at least I love, is to blame for the fact that this man has used you for sex for the last year, refuses to claim you, calls you his buddy. That's why you guys aren't going to be in a serious relationship, because Lisa Barlow had a FaceTime with him talking about bestie. That's really the core problem. She's the problem. She's the issue. Like you really just, you lost me with that one, sweetheart. You lost me with that one. Hey, Freddie. Freddie says she chooses this Jared guy over her daughter. That's why she won't talk to her. Ooh, shout out to Freddie, Reality Diamond, dropping the T in the chat. Listen, Jared, that's his name. Yikes. Broke down, second cousin, twice removed. Osmond, get out of here. Oswald, Osmond, whatever the hell their name is. Whatever. No, girl, no, thank you. That type of behavior, quite frankly, is never cute, but it's really not cute if you're over the age of 18. I'm just saying it's really not cute. And that type of friend is a very dangerous friend to have, because that's the type of friend that when you are honest with her about her situation and she doesn't want to hear the truth, she's then going to turn around and throw everything that you've ever told her about your life, your relationship in your face, to be like, well, how dare you talk about my relationship when you told me this, and this about your man or your husband? Hell no, all the way around. Hell no. Brittany is whack to me, low self esteem all day, very dangerous, very two faced, and is an energy suck. She's not interested in any of the other women and what they have going on. She's just interested in, having this weird narcissistic up and down relationship with a guy who clearly is not into her. So miss me with Brittany all day. Okay. Whitney. All right. You guys already know I cannot stand Whitney. I can't stand her voice. I can't even do her voice. It's so weird. I can't stand Whitney. I can't stand her voice. I can't stand her jewelry line. I think she's a flat out liar. I agree 1,000% with Lisa that she weaponizes her trauma and her healing journey. Okay, good job. I love self-care and wellness. Self-love, knock yourself out all day long. But a part of being a healed adult is knowing that nobody is responsible for you but you. And so you cannot hold other people accountable for your feelings. So the whole first episode and throughout the whole season, like, Lisa just doesn't listen to my feelings. She's not listening to my feelings. I'm not talking about facts, blah, blah, blah. A core part of learning to how to be a healthy adult is understanding that your feelings are not facts. So you can't hold somebody accountable to your feelings when they're not lighting up to the facts of the situation. And you just want to use your feelings and your trauma as a way to not be accountable for the role that you played in the mess, and to hold other people sort of at like emotionally hostage. It's like, if you're like, say you're having a conversation with someone and you are calling them out on their stuff and they start crying. I'm not talking about real tears. I'm talking about performative tears. Then the conversation stops. Then it becomes about, oh, don't cry, comforting them, when that is emotional manipulation. That's them using their feelings and their healing and their crying to get out of having any ownership of the part that they played. Whitney is a huge liar all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? And Jay says you're on early. Yes, I'm on early. I was gonna go on 5 o'clock East Coast or West Coast time, 8 o'clock East Coast time, but I got a lot of messages saying, "Can you go on earlier?" So I popped on earlier for the people. So hello, everybody. Um, so yeah, to me with Whitney, I just can't with her. She's a liar and all of the things. Now let's talk about her jewelry line collection, whatever the hell, and then I'll share what my thoughts are. So I'll go down a little bit smaller so you guys can see. So this is the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City rumor about Whitney Roll's jewelry and Alibaba accusations explained. So this is from Reality Tea. I'll go through the article, I'll break it down, and then I will tell you my thoughts on what I think is going on here. Okay. So Whitney Rose of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has always been a free spirit and creative thinker. Sure. The blonde bombshell has started her own company from the ground up. She worked hard to make it a household name. Whitney's Wild Rose Beauty has been showcased in a series multiple times, and the mother of two is throwing lavish launch parties. But season 5 has thrown Whitney's entrepreneurial skills into the limelight, with some calling out her products as possible fakes. Here's what you need to know about the claims against Whitney. Now, whoever wrote that intro, you're either delusional or you're being paid by Whitney, because her launch parties were not lavish. She didn't have product and it was just really weird. And I never heard of Wild Rose Beauty until the show. Anyway, last week, Meredith Marks let slip there's a rumor floating around that Whitney Still's Alibaba designs claims them as her own and marks them up. While there has been no truth in the while there is no truth in the gossip mill, Dana Wilkie, a former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills housewife, had her own ideas. In the video, Dana notes that the Whitney is charging $49 for a gold Zodiac necklace. During the episode, Meredith pointed out that the same stock photo was also being used in Alibaba, but they were charging $3. Dana shows more shared photos of a protection cross, a truth necklace, and a lucky girl pendant necklace. All the images match, and there is a considerable markup. According to the Prism website, Whitney and Amber Lee bonded over the desire to inspire women to honor their healing journeys and to spread the message that when you heal yourself, you heal the world. Dana mocked up the idea of a luxury vibe by noting that China makes some great stuff. For Dana, she believes where there is smoke, there is fire, but could Whitney be getting a bad rap? Anyway, it goes on to talk about Alibaba, blah, 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 blah. This is what I think is going on. You guys can see how similar they are. Again, this is my humble opinion. Allegedly, Whitney Rose, keep your little coins. Don't come after me with any crap, okay? I'm just a YouTuber giving my opinion in what I think. I'm not saying these are facts. These are my feelings, Whitney, okay? These are my feelings. This is how I feel. I feel like, hell yeah, Whitney and Amber Lee and Prism are getting designs from Alibaba and then selling them on their website and marking them up, because newsflash, literally almost everybody does this. This is nothing new under the sun at all. The big problem is, are you misleading the consumer in your advertising? That is what the biggest problem is. If you are saying these are custom designs, these are one of a kind, these are made in-house, that's why you have to be really careful with your description and your advertising, because if you are doing false advertising or if you're misleading in your advertising, then that is when you are lying and that is when you could be sued or you're caught into something. But newsflash, everybody, this happens all of the time, whether it is a celebrity, whether it is a stay-at-home mom, whether it is a influencer, real housewife, a lot of people will do this. I do a lot of writing as well. And a couple years ago, I did fashion copywriting for a fashion brand. And this is exactly what they did. It was basically they would go to Alibaba, they would find what they wanted to sell, and I would have to create description and copy based on that. And then they would mark it up and sell it on their website. People do this all the time. Now, my issue with Whitney is you just need to tell the truth, because if you're, I mean, we have eyes, that's the same stuff. There were other examples, like, we're not stupid. You're telling me that it's just a coincidence in my Nini voice, that your designs look exactly like the Alibaba designs. A lot of people do this. Is it right? No, but corporations do this. They manufacture mass things, whether it's in China or India. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just mean like that's the region of the world where it's manufactured. They'll manufacture it in bulk. That's why a lot of people, this is also called wholesale. When you buy something wholesale, you buy a bulk amount, and then that way each unit is marked really down because you're buying such a high quantity. So you buy wholesale and then you resell the individual one at a marked up price. This is also called, is it private white labeling? It's either private label or white label, where you don't actually create the product, you just slap your brand on it. This happens all the time. The issue is, are you lying to your consumer? Because some people will pay the marked up price for the logo. This is consumerism 101. This is capitalism 101. 101. You could go to Target and get some cute sneakers for $30, or you could go to Nike or all these other stores and buy the same exact sneaker, just one has a logo and one doesn't, for $200. Same thing with the bag. I'm guilty of it. I will buy a bag for a logo. It's the same crap. Sure, someone's like, oh, sure, this is made. Stop. All leather comes from cows. Stop. Okay. Obviously, there's quality here and there, but whatever. It's a part of consumerism. It's a part of capitalism. To do that, the problem is you have to let your consumer, the person who's giving you money, in on that. When you don't, that is when you become a fraud. So Whitney, with her whole, these are our designs, we buy them from a vendor, and maybe it's the vendor buying them from no. You have to be real dumb and a special type of stupid. And I'm not calling her dumb or stupid because that's mean. I'm just saying that the action would be, if you bought from a third-party vendor marked up from Alibaba, when you could just go to Alibaba, get the big discount, put it on your website, and buy it for something more. Now, I'm not saying that that is the right thing to do, but that's how it is. Now, let's get into the conversation she had in her car with her sketchy husband. I mean, to me, he's sketchy. Again, Whitney, this is how I feel. Whitney. I feel like your husband is sketch. I mean, he was working for that, MLM company, in my opinion, marketing pyramid scheme company, where they laid him off. He got, paid time off because they were in this big class action lawsuit, but they didn't want the smoke when he was on the show. All of that crap. Super sketch. So clearly this is a very scripted, planned conversation that she has with her podcaster friend, Adam. Now, I don't like to talk about other content creators on my platform. However, when they become the content by their own volition, then it's fair game. So since he was Adam, which I'm assuming is Up and Adam, on the show via his voice, then I'll speak on it because he's a part of the show. Other than that, I don't really want to talk about other content creators other than to lift them up and say, good job, keep going. But since he's a part of the show, I'll bring it up. Now, did I personally believe that that conversation was authentic? No. And this is no shade to him. This is nothing to his credibility or his authenticity, but I have to share my opinion since he now is literally a part of the show. Do I think that conversation was scripted? I do. I do. I think Whitney isn't that good of an actress. She's like, oh, wait, what? What happened? Oh, well, I only have one friend in my circle that owns tequila, that owns an alcohol brand. It has to be Lisa. And then her husband over in the corner, like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is horrible. Like, it was just the most weird, awkward, scripted scene I've ever seen in my life. I personally, the person I want to talk to is Giorgio Says, who is the content creator that broke the story. And the only reason why I'm using their name is because, again, in the episode before that, their name was aired on the show. So since they've become a part of the show, I feel comfortable saying their name. So I want to know what his take is. I want to know what he says about this. I need to do a little deeper dive because, number one, if I were him, and I was not in on this conversation, I would be pissed because now you're on the show basically telling people that you can't be trusted. You're going to reveal your sources. You know, this weird game of like, what brand do they own was so whack and so bizarre. And this like, well, he's really good friends with him. And he called him and he was like, well, I can't tell you the name, but you can ask me questions. And I'll like say yes or no. You're still revealing your source. And no, as TikTokers and podcasters and YouTubers, no, we're not journalists. We didn't go to journalism school or anything like that. So we're not journalists. But I do think that if you want to have a level of integrity, there is a part of you don't reveal your sources unless they give you permission to. So even though, no, we're not technically journalists, we're bloggers. There's no code of conduct for bloggers. We're not journalists. But I do think just as human beings, and if you want to be taken seriously in this space, you're not going to reveal your sources. So if I'm Giorgio and I did not give Adam permission to see that, I would be pissed because now you're outing me. Now, do I believe that Lisa Barlow was behind leaking of the photos for Giorgio to post? To be honest with you, I don't care. This is very giving me Lucy, Apple Goosey, Boo Boo the Fool, Puppy Gate back in Beverly Hills when it was like, oh my God, did Lisa Vanderpump leak the story about the puppy in Dorit? Who cares? First and foremost, Whitney trying with her little Peabody brain up there, trying to make it synonymous with what Monica did as being reality Von Teese with the allegation that Lisa Barlow gave Giorgio Says the information about Alibaba. It's apples to oranges, sweetheart. It is completely different to be an active blogger, troll, posting anonymously at that. She didn't even have the audacity to show her face. You know what I mean? Say her real name. She'd have the audacity to actually be herself and say her opinion. She was hiding behind some anonymous troll account, stalking them, versus Lisa, the allegation that Lisa Barlow tipped off a TikToker with something that is clear as day with Alibaba brand pictures. So again, apples to oranges. Nice try, Whitney, but you missed. And again, like I said before, I don't care. To be honest with you, I hope Lisa did do it. I hope she did. I hope she did give him the information because who cares, Whitney? You're not going to have a receipts, timeline, screenshots. You're not going to recreate that moment and you will never make me hate Lisa Barlow. Ever. It's just not going to work, boo-boo. It's not. I hope she did. I hope she did. I hope she did because Whitney, you're a horrible, mean person. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. I mean that in an honest way. You're mean. You're mean and you're nasty to people. You lie on people and you revel in it. The way you befriended Lisa and threw Heather to the wolves. And then when Heather and Lisa became friends, then you threw Heather to the wolves, said, I'm going on a friendship break with you. And now that Heather and Lisa have maintained that friendship, you can't stand it. The jealousy is like seething out of every single one of your pores. You lie on people, you're not nice, you're rude, and your jewelry's fake, in my personal opinion. Duh. So if she did send the photos, who cares? It's not like she cracked some, crazy case about you. A lot of people, from corporations to mom and pop shops to celebrities to influencers, do what you do. They buy wholesale from a supplier like an Alibaba, they slap their logo on it and they mark it up. That's commerce 101. You're not doing anything new under the sun. The problem is when you're not honest about it, then it becomes fraud. Then it becomes misleading. Just tell the truth. And that's it. Okay? Don't forget, we caught, what's her face? I should have got a screenshot. Last year, we caught Kylie Jenner and Erica Jane wearing that $13 Alibaba Shein black and white dress, remember? So, I mean, everybody's out here doing it allegedly. So who knows? But yeah, miss me without Whitney. What else about Whitney? I'll get to more Whitney, but let's talk about some of the other girls, okay? So we talked about Lisa, Heather, Brittany, Whitney. I have Mealy on there, really small. I actually don't know what to say about her other than the fact that Lisa said that isn't she barred from like Nordstrom's or Louis Vuitton or something like that for bringing back too many returns. Oh, this is my thing. If you are going to shop and return, do it at like Amazon because they don't care. You can return all day long with Amazon as long as it's in the 30-day window and they're fine. They're not going to block you for that unless you're being crazy. But don't do it with like big name brand fancy places. It's not that deep or serious. If you can't afford name brand fashion designer stuff, which is completely fine, like who cares? Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Invest that time and money into cultivating your own personal style. I'm going on a little tangent here, but this is just because it's the only thing I know about Mealy is that story. Cultivate your own personal style rather than trying to rely on logos and brands, which is cheesy anyway. Like when the women are wearing like logos everywhere, they look ridiculous. I'm talking to you, Dorit. I'm talking to you, Brownwyn. You look ridiculous. You just look like a hot mess. I'm talking to you, Jessel. Like you don't look fashionable. You kind of look like a joke. Like you think being fashionable and stylish is wearing logos everywhere, but you just kind of look like a joke. Invest in having your own personal style. Invest in like good quality things and then mix and match with things you get from, other places. That's what I would say. That was a little bit of a tangent. Let's get back on it. Let's talk about Angie. Miss Angie. Oh, wait, Miss T says, what do I think about the new Mary? Okay, let's talk about Mary, then we'll get to Angie. Shout out to Miss T. Love you. Okay. I am living for the new Mary. Living. I saw her on Watch What Happens Live, and they were like, oh, like, this is like the new Mary. You seem so happier and lighter. And she's like, I am happier and lighter. And I do think that's true. Now, you guys check me on this. I could be wrong, but I think she took a little bit of time away from the church. I think they're like renovating or something, but she took some type of break from the church. I think that break did her very well. She's looking a lot healthier. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in the confessionals. I feel like her entire face is like Facetune. My face is not Facetune, if you guys were wondering. This is just me, real, no filter. But you can see Mary is like filtered down. She's filtered down. But overall, she does still look healthier. Her face is fuller. Her energy is a lot lighter. She just seems like she herself isn't so dark. And so now when she has those one-liners in the quips, I receive it personally in a more lighter, funnier way, more as like a fun read, rather than like you're just being kind of a jerk and you're really being mean and hurtful and nasty. Because not necessarily because what she is saying is different, but because the energy from which it is coming is different. So I'm liking the new Mary. I think she's fun. I think she's in a good place. And the reason why I think she is this way is a couple of things. One, I think her and Robert Sr., I think they were always living separate lives, but I think now it's probably much more official and real that they're living separate lives and less of a lie, if that makes sense. So I don't think anything in their relationship technically changed. I think he does him, she does her. He was living out of state anyway, in the other wing of the house. Wasn't really dealing with her like that. Whatever happened, in my personal opinion, they only got together as a way to scheme and scam to get her grandmother's money and the church and properties. And to me, that whole situation was a fraud money grab situation. Her and her step grandfather, that's just in my opinion. Again, don't come at me, Mary. Keep your coins to yourself. Don't send them in a lawyer to come after me. This is my opinion. I think that whole situation was a money grab. I think that Mary probably has felt a lot of guilt from what she participated in for the money. And I think that maybe cracked her a little bit in her head. Like we talk about how she's kind of cuckoo, kind of off. I think a lot of that on her was a lot of guilt and shame. Because I do think inside Mary is a good person, but I think she was haunted by a lot of stuff. And I think when you're a good person and you do bad things, that will haunt you. Even if you're a bad person who does bad things, it haunts you, but in a different way, if that makes sense. And I feel like since she's been able to talk about it and get it out and not have the lies and the secrecy and be more honest about the situation, even though, of course, she's still lying, in my opinion, but I think she's telling more of the truth than she's ever had. I think the break from the church, I think being honest about her son, she's talking about her son and his struggles. He's at home, he's entered rehab, the substance abuse and all of that, him not really being ready to adult in any real way, him having problems. She's being honest about that and she's talking about that. And I think that when you are in a dark place, I'm not a parent, I don't know, but I can only think, particularly with your children, and you're lying about it and you're not being honest about it and you're pretending everything is okay. That is such a weight on you. So even if you're still going through it, she clearly is still going through it because he's going into rehab, but you're being honest about it, because then what they say, secrets is what make you sick, right? But because now she's being honest about it, I think that has brightened her up so much more. Because you can go through storms, but if you go through it with grace and honesty, you can get through it in a better way. So I do think that and I agree with you. Shout out to Reality Diamond. He says Mary was an enabler of her son's addiction, 100%. 100%. But I think that now that she's being more honest about the situation, and hopefully, just like you said, Freddie, hopefully she's getting help to not enable him, it'll be better. So I'm living for the new Mary because she's happier and she's lighter and she's being more honest about the stuff in her closet. And there's a lot of stuff in there. I think she's much more approachable and more down to earth, and I can receive what she's saying in a much better way. So I'm happy for her. Sending, blessings and encouragement to her son. I hope he gets the helps he needs and everything works out with him and all of that. So I really hope that, they're okay. But I'm living for the new Mary. I don't like that her and Meredith are going to have a falling out. They're not at odds. That pisses me off. I like her and Meredith. I do. I like it when her and Lisa are getting along together. Angie, I'm about to talk about Angie. Ugh. But I want her and Meredith to make up, because why? Like, why are you beefing? I'm confused. Okay. Now, that was Mary. Let's talk about Angie. Angie K. Angie. You know how I said that Brittany is a type of woman that I would never be friends with? Angie is the type of woman I would stop being friends with. Okay? I saw some articles being like, oh, like we need Lisa Barlow and Angie K to get back together as friends. Who? Who needs that? Not me. Hell no, not never, not ever. No, thank you, ma'am. No, thank you. Angie K to me is such a disappointment. Tay said, I'm disappointed. Andy, shout out to Tay. She is such a disappointment. First of all, Angie, you are the new wind up doll. You are giving, what was the foot's name on Beverly Hills? What was her name? Oh, Anna Marie. Anna Marie. You're giving Anna Marie vibes. You are now just a wind up doll that Whitney is feeding into your ear. She's winding you up, and then you're going out and you're regurgitating all of this spew to everybody. Whitney Rose is the Lisa Rinna of this franchise, okay? And if anybody should learn about copying Lisa Rinna, it should be these people. Look at Tamra Judge. Tamra said she liked Lisa Rinna and wanted to be the Lisa Rinna. Well, now you are, because hopefully now you'll be fired too for your antics. Whitney, you're up next, sweetheart, for your antics. She is just going after Lisa for no reason. And Heather said this too. She's like, you keep coming at her, but like, why and for what? Like, you keep coming at her, but like, for why and for what? It doesn't make any sense. First of all, Lisa has done nothing to you, Angie. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you so mad? Like, your level of anger towards Lisa makes zero sense, other than the fact that you don't think for yourself. You're low-key jealous of Lisa, or else why are you so mad and so quick to believe what Whitney tells you? Because clearly Whitney and Angie have gotten together and talked all types of crap about probably Heather too, and Lisa, and wound him up. And because these women have such low self-esteem, they are willing to believe anything that Whitney will say that somebody that they believe is better than them is saying about them negatively. And I'm going to tell you this. Someone like a Lisa or a Heather Dubrow or a Lisa Vanderpump, anybody that you think of as like a Karen and Potomac, anybody that you think of as like that girl of the group, they're not actually worried about you, boo-boo. It's like that saying, nobody doing better than you will ever talk about you, or nobody doing better than you will ever criticize you for trying or for doing what you're doing, right? Because they don't have the time, they're not interested, and they're not threatened. So the fact that Angie and Whitney get together and just basically try and take down Lisa Barlow is really sad, bizarre, and pathetic to me. Like, I don't get it. Angie, you need to get your own mind. You need to stop, chasing after Lisa Barlow like a weird puppy dog. Like, let it go. You should have kept your relationship and friendship with her. Lay off of Meredith. I don't know why you keep going after Meredith. Like, keep her name out your mouth. It's over. Let it go. Really weird and bizarre to me. And also, Angie, shout out to my Greek brothers and sisters out there. Being Greek cannot be your personality. It never works when people make something about themselves their personality. Like, being Greek, it cannot be your whole personality. Like the same way Wendy in Potomac, her degrees was his whole personality. It doesn't work. Okay, cool. You're Greek. Cool. Let it go. Stop. Be proud, be loud, but stop. We get it. It cannot be your whole personality. It's a lot. I still think Angie and her husband, and also very similar to Meredith and her husband, I think they just have an agreement. I think a lot of people do in the world, where it's like, I like you, you like me. Let's just do life together. Whether or not behind the scenes it's a quote traditional marriage, anybody's guess. I don't know. I don't know. But her husband seems really nice, really sweet. They're raising their daughter together. For me, the creepy part was, and again, I'm not a parent, but I am a human being, so I can still think about stuff like this. I personally think that a child sleeping in a parent's bed every single night after the age, I don't know, is it like 1 or 2, is problematic. You know what I mean? I don't mean in like in certain situations, if it's like a 1-bedroom house, single parent, you do what you got to do. Obviously, I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about situations where their daughter is like what, 13, 14 at this point. And didn't last season she was saying that their daughter sleeps with them in the bed every night? What? I'm confused. And to me, I don't even care about your marriage. I'm more concerned about the mental health of your child. Is that healthy for a teenager to be sleeping with their parents every night? I don't think it is. I mean, I guess I have to read a parenting book, but I'm just going to guess no. I'm just going to guess that's not good. I don't know. That's what I have to say on that. That's weird and bizarre. But that's kind of where I land on Angie. Like, I personally don't need Angie on the show. Like, what is she bringing? You're fighting with Lisa Barlow. Join, join the club. Join the club. Everybody who wants to be relevant, who wants to make a statement, who wants to have a storyline, goes after Lisa. Because if you go after Lisa, you have a baked-in storyline. Heather did it. Mary did it. Whitney is doing it. Even Meredith did it. Monica did it. Bronwyn's trying to do it now. And she's still standing. Angie, to me, I don't need it. I don't need it. Okay. Let's get to Bronwyn and then we'll do Meredith. Okay. Now, Bronwyn. Bronwyn. We know the song Money Can't Buy You Class. More like Money Can't Buy You Self-Worth. I look at Bronwyn and her energy to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to know your thoughts. Bronwyn to me has such nervous energy. She just always seems very nervous, very on edge, very showy. Again, your personality is your age gap with your husband. Like every conversation can't be you laughing about how old your husband is. Oh, I'm sleeping with someone who could have gout. Oh my god, I wasn't even alive then. Oh my god, oh life. Stop. You've been with this man how many years now? Stop. Your husband's age and your age gap cannot be your whole personality, a whole shtick. I don't think we have yet to see the real Bronwyn. I think that she has been giving a caricature of herself, of a housewife. I think that she's very nervous. I think that thou dost protest too much. I think that she really cares about what the other women think of her and what the audience thinks of her. I think that her whole fashion, this is couture, there's only 3 of these in the world. I don't care. It's still ugly. It looked good on Rihanna, but it looks bad on you. I'm sorry. It's still ugly. I don't care if you spent $10 or 10 million on it. It's still ugly. It is what it is. I think that she is very insecure. And I think that she kind of has imposter syndrome. I think that she thinks that, and this isn't good because I don't believe this to be true, but I think this is what she thinks of herself. I think she feels she kind of like lucked up with the husband and she has never felt like she belonged in that world. And so instead of working on her self-esteem and self-worth to know that you didn't look up, sweetheart, he did. You are the prize. You are enough. You are worthy. You are everything and all of that. I don't care how much money this man has. I don't care how old he is. You are the prize girl. You always are. Love yourself. Get that confidence, get that glow, get a little bit of Lisa Barlow in you, right? Get a little bit of Lisa Barlow in you. And so you wouldn't be such a hater. You would love yourself. But I think that she overcompensates for feeling like I don't belong here. I'm a fraud. This is like, what's it called? Imposter syndrome. She overcompensates. She talks so much about the money. She talks so much about the art. She talks so much about the husband and so much about this because she's overcompensating for not feeling like she actually belongs. And so that's what I think I'm picking up on her. And unfortunately, to me, that makes her very unlikable because I don't think I'm actually getting a real person. I don't think that we are actually seeing who she really is. And another thing that pisses me off with her is why are you so quick to turn on Lisa Barlow when number one, Lisa Barlow she's supposed to be your friend, and Lisa Barlow also brought you on the show. Now, this cuts both ways. Number one, I don't think just because you're friends with someone or someone brings you on the show, you don't be like a Anna Marie and you become a wind up doll and you just be a mouthpiece for someone and don't have a brain. I don't mean that either. And I don't mean that you have to be blindly loyal to somebody. I don't mean that either. I just mean have some integrity. That if this person is your friend, they bring you on the show, and they've literally done nothing to you, why would you then continuously badmouth them and bash them and twist and turn everything they say around as if they're the bad guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's just like no sense of loyalty, no sense of integrity of yourself, and such a red flag. So, just like I said before, a woman like Angie, I would stop being friends with. Same thing with Bronwyn. I would stop being friends with a woman like that. Because women who are like Bronwyn, who are like Angie, who are like a Brittany, who are like that, those are dangerous people to have that are actually close to you. Sure, you can do a brunch, maybe even a shopping spree, dinner and drinks, see him out, sure. But to actually be close to you and to have in your circle and to trust, absolutely not, because they don't love themselves enough to be a good friend to you. Because you aren't doing anything, you're just living your life and you're doing you. But because they don't love themselves and they don't have enough self esteem, they're always going to put you on a pedestal. So then, if you put someone on a pedestal, you're always going to think they're looking down on me, they're talking bad about me, they think they're better than me. I'm going to have to take them down a peg or two to make myself feel better, even though that's not how you feel at all. Lisa Barlow is just living her life. Heather Dubrow living her life. Lisa Vanderpump living her life. Karen over in Potomac, the Grand Aunt, living her life. But yet everybody is like, I can't think of anybody like that in New York because, and we'll get to New York. We'll do a live on New York too. I don't think any of those girls are really that girl. And I think that's what's missing in New York. Miss me with Jenna Lyons. She's not Jenna effing. Who cares? No, I'm sorry, Jenna. You're not that girl. You're not. And we're missing that it factor. Bryn is trying to be it, but we'll get more into that when we do New York. Yeah, so that's kind of where I land with Bronwyn. I think we have yet to see the true Bronwyn. Even on Watch What Happens Live, to me, she was still being very performative. I don't think she's a bad person. I just don't think she's an authentic person. I think there's still something going on there. And it's just weird. It's just weird. Okay. Now let's go to Meredith. I like Meredith. Now, this might be a controversial thought because I really like Meredith. No, let me take that back. We do need Meredith. I do. We do need Meredith. I like Meredith. I will say this. It warmed my heart like a chewy chocolate chip cookie that Lisa and Meredith are friends again and that they made their pact that if anybody comes between us, we come to each other first. And they did it. And I was like, yes, thank you, Jesus. Yes. So exciting. So when they were on that dumb trip to Milwaukee, I'm sorry, the trip, anyway, no disrespect to anybody from Milwaukee. Obviously not. But for a trip for Housewives, you get what I'm saying. No disrespect to people in Milwaukee, obviously. Okay. But when they're in Milwaukee and Whitney and Angie, it was Whitney and Angie, right? Came to Meredith and was like trashing Lisa, trying to get her like, oh, she's saying this, she's doing that, blah, 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 blah. I am so happy that these women are emotionally intelligent enough to say, oh, okay, so you're coming to me with someone that Angie, you and Lisa were just BFFs rocking it real tight. Whitney, we know that you're stabbing Lisa in the back and you're coming after her. Now you're going to come to me out of the blue and tell me all this stuff. Instead of just believing it, hook, line, and sinker, like a dodo brain, She was like, well, I'm going to actually go to Lisa and have a conversation with her and see what the truth is before I turn on my good girlfriend. And I love how at the table they were like, no, we're good. We talked through stuff. And we said if anybody comes between us, and then they tag team them. And I was like, yes. And it was glorious. To me, that was such a yummy, amazing moment when Lisa Barlow and Meredith Marks were back together, being those girls and sticking it to them, giving it to Angie, giving it to Whitney. When they got together and they teamed up and was like, no, I was like, yes, this is it. This is gold. Because that to me is fun to watch. Women who are smart, intelligent, confident, they are that girls. They're not going to let you feed me a line of BS and I'm just going to go and while out on TV because Whitney whispered something in my ear. I'm talking to you, Angie. I'm talking to you, Bronwyn. That is when you see the difference between women who are emotionally intelligent, confident, and have high self-esteem versus women who have issues they need to work out with their emotional intelligence and low self-esteem. You see the difference in how they move and how they operate. Meredith and Lisa operate on a very different level than how a Bronwyn or an Andrew or a Whitney operate. And notice it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with name brands. It has nothing to do with logos or any of that stuff. And that's why it's not to get too woo-woo, but I'm into like all that stuff. It's energetic. It's an energetic difference. When someone's like, when Lisa's just like, I am who I am, what? Rather than Bronwyn, who's like, oh my God, this costs like $2 million and my husband is 100 years old. My name's Bronwyn. It's like weird and bizarre. Like, I don't even know. It's horrible. That was probably horrible. But you guys know what I mean. Stop. But I'm liking Meredith. I know I saw, and I hope I'm wrong on this, but I saw that Meredith was getting backlash because she wanted to do her, is it bat mitzvah for girls or bar mitzvah? Because I know it's like bat for boys and bar for girls, one of the two. If I inverted that, I apologize. But she wants to get her mitzvah. And people are like giving her, to me, stop it. I personally think it's beautiful that she, especially with all the anti-Semitism that has been going on in the world, I think it's beautiful that she's bringing that aspect of herself and her culture and her religion to the show as an adult, being like, as an adult, I'm finding this and I'm doing, and this is what I'm doing. And she's doing everything. I think it's beautiful. If people are like, oh, it's for a storyline, well, then good. Then maybe that's a good storyline to have. It's better than we're being sued for fraud. We defrauded victims. That's our storyline. It's a better storyline than, I'm going to prison, for telemarketing for 50 years, or my husband has been cheating on me and surprise, or I'm in a fake lesbian relationship storyline. It's so much better to be like, well, let's explore Judaism and my Jewish faith and talk about that as an adult than it is for any of that other stuff. So I'm here for it. So anybody bashing her about that, you better stop in your tracks. So I'm excited to see that. So that's kind of where I land on the season so far. So season 5, episode 1 through 5, that's kind of where I land on all the girls. Lisa Barlow, she's still my ace boon coon. She's my favorite person on the show in life ever. Love her. And I hope she continues to shine. And I want to continue to see, and that's another thing. When Angie came, this is another thing that pisses me off when they do like fake comparisons. So when Lisa said about Angie, oh yeah, well, when I'm on the phone and then you say, I forgot Angie's daughter's name. When you say your daughter's name and you have to go talk to her just to get off the phone with me. And then Angie's like, how dare you come after my parenting? Like, I'm so there for my daughter. My mom wasn't there for me. I'm confused. Again, Angie Dodo, what? How is saying that when I'm on the phone and you want to get me off, you say, oh, I have to go talk to my kid. How is that talking about your parenting skills? You then turned around and attacked Lisa about her son, saying she's not a present parent. She lets the computer while her son is doing video games, be the babysitter and blah, 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 and all this stuff. You went after her. And that's another thing, you guys. When you think you have a friend, but it's Mad Day, and they start listing out all these things that have nothing really to do with what they're allegedly mad about, that person has been harboring that jealousy, hatred, and resentment towards you probably for your entire friendship. So be very, very careful when you have a misunderstanding with anybody, really, whether it's a friend, family member, coworker, stranger, whatever, and they have a ready, set, go list of every little thing they want to come at you about. That person has been harboring that against you for a long time. So be very, 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 very careful about that. Be very, very, very careful. Hey, Nataski. And it's like, and you're like, oh, this is how you feel. Exactly. It's like, oh, so this is how you really feel about me. So be careful on Mad Day when people tell you what's going on and any type of misunderstanding and they have that laundry list. Watch out. Watch out. Miss T says, Angie and that fake chair moved too much. I mean, she keeps copying Lisa. She had the same heart earrings Lisa did. Lisa in the first episode got up and pushed the chair. Then all of a sudden, episode 4, Angie's pushing a chair. Like she has no original thought, no original anything going on. Like Angie girl, bye, sit down, stop. So yeah, so that's kind of where I feel on that. Again, apples to oranges. Lisa saying you say your daughter's name to get off the phone has nothing to do with your parenting skills. But then for Angie to read her for filth to heaven. Now, there was a poll on Watch What Happens Live. And it was like, oh, is Heather being a good friend or a pot stirrer by telling Lisa what Angie said about her parenting skills? And even though those polls, I'll just say allegedly are fake, because number one, if you're live on TV, nobody's sitting, like the polls are fake. They're basically the PA, the production assistants are over there doing it. The questions are fake and the polls are fake. But according to the poll, they said that she was being a pot stirrer. I disagree. If you are my friend and someone is sitting there who you know I'm beefing with and who used to allegedly be my friend, has a laundry list of everything they cannot stand about me, and they're laughing about it, they're kikiing about it, it's on camera, and you don't tell me, then I'm going to look at you a different type of way. So I don't think Heather was a pot stirrer. Yes, I do think that's one of Heather's jobs on the show. It's kind of like a producer fave to stir the pot, to drop the tea, to carry the bone, 1,000%. But with that being said, if she had not carried that bone to me, then I would also be looking at Heather differently. Because trust and believe, with my girlfriends, and you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, oh, Candy, they're going to be like, oh, really? Oh, really? They're probably like texting me like right there. Because that's what a real one does. That's what a real one does. Okay. So I think she was being a good friend, and I'm living for it. I'm living for the Lisa Barlow Heather Gay friendship. I'm living for it. So that's kind of where I stand with everybody. Brittany is a hot, weird mess. Whitney, ugh. I'm for Whitney to go. She's doing too much and doing the most. All right. So that's kind of how I feel, guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, we are back. I'm going to be doing OC tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing the OC tomorrow night. Click on notifications so you get notified when I go live. I'm going to try to go live as early as I can, early evening as I can. But if it gets bumped a little bit, I apologize. I'm trying to do the best I can. But tomorrow we'll be doing the OC. Monday we'll do Potomac. And Wednesday we'll be doing New York. Yeah, so we're back, you guys. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to